Hey guys, and I'm back pretty fast, and now I have a review for you of Butcher's Crossing. I really wanted to see this movie, and none of the theaters nearby are sadly playing it, but I was really lucky to catch it during those 2 weeks while I was away, because the theater there did thankfully play it. So call me lucky that I was able to catch this movie, because it was a really cool western done by an independent studio, and it was a very enjoyable and interesting movie, and it shows that sometimes movies done by independent studios can be really good, especially in the days of modern Hollywood, because let's face it, modern Hollywood tends to now either milk beloved franchises dry, or worse yet, insert political agenda into movies. So no wonder people are now seek more and more movies by independent studios. And don't get me wrong, there are still some phenomenal Hollywood movies that are being done. Like everybody loved Top Gun Maverick from last year, and like The Northman was really awesome. And I'm really looking forward to Napoleon, and I'm really counting on this being great. And even Killers of the Flower Moon that I just reviewed, like only like a few minutes ago only, was also a good movie. So yeah, that's not to say that there aren't still some good Hollywood movies, but because there clearly are, but it doesn't take away from the bigger picture. You know what I mean? So yes, Butcher's Crossing was a really good western from an independent studio. And Butcher's Crossing is a perfect example of a movie that is simply telling you a good story with interesting characters. And the story is about a young man named Will who idolizes basically buffalo hunting and views it as some kind of awesome adventure. So he meets an experienced buffalo hunter named Miller, and together with two other men, they embark on a journey to hunt buffaloes and to later sell them in the town of Butcher's Crossing, the titular town, so they could get rich. But sooner it very much becomes about greed, because Miller becomes so greedy that he really wants to shoot as many buffaloes as he possibly can, a lot more than they actually needed. And as a result, it doesn't end well for them. Like, they very much later get stranded in the middle of nowhere, and they start fighting for survival. Like, winter later comes, and all four men have to work with each other to survive, and they start. So of course they struggle to survive through winter. And the ending of the movie makes perfect sense, and it very much drives the point home, because of the greed that the men got to hunt buffaloes. When they ultimately do return to Butcher's Crossing much later when they were supposed to, the town is like completely different now, and it's practically empty, and there's no more point in selling buffalo carcass that they wanted to sell so bad. So you can basically say that this greed very much backfired on Miller, although Miller doesn't learn any lesson, while Will learns a very important lesson and abandons Miller. It's clear from Miller's behavior that he refuses to blame himself but everyone else for the problem, and ends up even burning the parts of town in anger. I really love the theme of human greed in this movie, and it basically shows how much greed can corrupt a regular human. And the final message of the movie is very important too, that American buffaloes are now very much endangered species, that there were like millions and millions of them back then, but because of greedy people like Miller, many of them now became very much endangered species. So that's also a very important and really good message from the movie. So I really like the theme of greed in this movie, and also Will's character development. He initially idolizes buffalo hunting and views it as an awesome adventure, but later when he sees how greedy really Miller became and started hunting a lot more buffaloes than it was actually needed, and by seeing his complete needless slaughter of buffaloes, Will realizes that buffalo hunting isn't really all that much fun, and that how much greed can corrupt a regular human, and as a result he abandons Miller. Miller was played by Nicolas Cage actually, and I think he has done a very good job, especially that I never pictured Nicolas Cage in that type of role, but he surprisingly did a really good job, actually. And the final thing I want to compliment in this movie is that the visuals are simply beautiful. Yes, I just said in my previous Killers of the Flower Moon review that I found visuals in Killers of the Flower Moon kind of underwhelming, but here it was the exact opposite. The scenery, landscapes, and visuals in this movie were simply beautiful, and they were just a feast for the eyes, and I could talk about them for hours and how beautiful and amazing they were. And I really loved the change of the various seasons. Like, I loved how American Midwest looked in the fall, and then there was winter, and I love all the snow and how much the forest looked in the snow. It kind of reminded me of the forests in Vermont, where I did live for 5 years. I mean, it wasn't Vermont, it was American Midwest, but it still very much reminded me of winter forests in Vermont. So yes, the visuals, the scenery, the landscapes in this movie were beautiful, magnificent, and I could simply talk for hours about them and how beautiful they were. Overall, Butcher's Crossing is a very good Western with an interesting story, interesting theme about human greed, interesting characters, and very important message at the end of the movie. I'm really glad I watched Butcher's Crossing and was very lucky to catch it where it was. So, thank you for checking out this video, press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll talk to you soon in another video. Talk to you later, bye!